I should be fine. Good morning, guys. It's okay. All right, good. Let's get the alerts out for everyone. Know that we're live. All right, perfect. That's all set. Beautiful. All right, good morning, guys. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. We'll get right into covering. What we're going to do right now is we're going to go and back test the Glowex IV a little bit. We'll cover what happened yesterday as well. And then we will get into the pre-market analysis. Good morning, Rebo. How you doing, Rolo? Good morning. Sasso, Tom, Walldive, Hattie, Red Chaser. Okay, one more little announcement to get out. Go. Good. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Beautiful. You guys might hear the dogs barking a little bit in the back today. My wife is still in bed. She is also sick. What's going on, Miguel? Good morning. Mini Trader, no too broke. Miramar. Or I'm Iramar. Grandma, Wild Rod, Mikey. Good to see you again. All right, so the main thing that I want to talk about before we have 27 minutes before New York opens, so we don't need to be too rushed on the edgeful data for the gap up. Luckily, the gap that we have right now is only 0.3%. We do have that inside bar, so we don't really have to worry about that until the next 20-ish minutes. What's going on, Stefan? Mark, good morning. Yes, actually, this payout from my funded futures, I need to make another $35, which I would have made last night. We'll review that here in a minute. This one has been solely off of the IB. Solely off of the IB, no other trades. Now, the exception to this is the Glowex IB, which not everyone may trade. I did take a long after stream yesterday off of the IB50 for M&Q. And that entry, I think I got about 25,270. So it wasn't quite off the 50. It was a little bit above it. And then I wrote it up all the way until, I don't know if Freedom Trader's in here, but I actually had a call with him while I had this trade open yesterday. I wrote it up all the way to the break at 2 o'clock. And let me tell you, it was a long trade. I did add into the position on the way up as well. I think I added at 12:15 or like 12:45, and then finally got the break at 2. Now, if you didn't know, the IB also works for Glowex. Good morning, Tom. How you doing? KB, David. So the IB also works for Glowex. It is the 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock low, and then you take the entry at the 50%, same way you would with New York. Now, in my little the delusional state I was in last night, I drew it wrong. So I did get lucky on this trade. The concept was still the same. I drew it from this high for whatever reason. That's why my entries were at 25,323, and then I took another one at 25,333. And then I got out early because I ended up just going to bed reading a book. not doing anything else. But this was a beautiful 80 points. Why are you being like that? This was a beautiful 80 points to the downside. And then as soon as it broke, and it broke with a little wick at 8:15, you can see the reaction we had off of the IB low, which is usually why I don't hold runners, because it pushes up like that. It usually pushes up like that once the IB is broken, or it pushes down once the IB high is broken, vice versa. For Qs yesterday, this was, I don't really know what to refer to it as. We just got unlucky, as we were as unlucky as we could have been, really. Ash Trades, if you guys are familiar with him, he took the same long, but he took the long on ES, which never ended up breaking the IB low. And I left this long position on here just to show how kind of screwed we got on the long that we were in. It never ended up breaking the IB, which, if you go over to edgeful, and this is why I do not chart the strategy on MNQ, MES, MYM, MGC. If we go up to SPY for the IB by rejection from yesterday, you can see it says 71, 76. The low formed first, the high broke first. So this was a win. If you pull up MES, 64%. So this is a 7% difference on the data, because of the slippage that I had yesterday. And it was just, again, nothing we could have done about it. It was unlucky as it could have been. It broke the low on MES, and the slippage was 28 cents, which came out to 2.5 points. That's how unlucky we got on that wick down at 10:35. I almost wanted to re-add back into the position on MES because, I mean, it was still valid, but I ended up going over to MNQ. That one had a lot more strength. And then we have Nvidia earnings that ended up beating last night. And now that brings us to our close for previous day's high, previous day's low. I'm going to slap the different color on here for now, even though it does look cleaner. So our high from yesterday, our close was 616.86. This level right here, this wick high. We are already pretty much right at that level. We have no gap today, so we don't have a gap fill statistic to go and look at. It's a 90% chance that we fill it if we gap up or gap down. And this is a 0.01% gap for both SPY and Qs. SPY is at 0.08. Get off that 1 minute time frame. So given that information, we're not really going to be anticipating a draw right into open. Unfortunately, we don't have a reason to be anticipating upside. We don't have a reason to be anticipating downside. So today we're just going to look at the IB, which, if you guys remember, unfortunately, for Thursdays, this is the worst day the IB has for performance across the board. Thursdays are, whether it's because of the holidays we had or NFP that always comes out on Friday, this is one of the messier IBs that we can take. Back tested over, let's go to 3 years. Morning, Rob, John, J Baller, how you doing? 82 and 73. Ideally, we want to see the low form first for a Thursday. Yeah, it's on Thursday. The high forming first over the past 6 months, though, has been brutal. Last Thursday, I believe, was also a loss on the strategy. Let's go to last Thursday. Qs ended up winning last Thursday. I think SPY ended up losing, which we were in both of them. Yeah, it did. So last Thursday, SPY ended up losing. Let's go and see the data for SPY on a Thursday. 63 and 75. Ideally, we want to see the low form first today, and then we can take a long to the high. But again, we have no bias in open. We have no bullish bias, no bearish bias. Nvidia earnings came out bear as could be. Nvidia is currently gapped up 0.6%. So that's just IV crush across the board. Not really much that we can do with the earnings on Nvidia. It looks like it front ran it a little bit. Now we're just opening flat. That should hopefully line Qs and SPY back up, because that was part of the reason that Qs and SPY were so diverged yesterday. So hopefully we'll get some coinciding price action today. Good morning, Bob. How you doing? Good morning, Pip T. May the IB go in our favor today. MES sucked yesterday. Simple as that. It was rough. For MES, we had. I'll go back over to the trade that we had on 8 from yesterday. That wick at 1035 didn't actually happen, which is very, very unfortunate because we would have been probably 120 because I believe our entry was at 6938. We would have been up about 120 on the day off of that. We had 2 MES. And then that just happened to pitter out. Nothing we can do about that. Didn't end up going in revenge trade. Just took the longs on M&Q and buzzed off for the rest of the day. Isn't there a gap down on M&Q? A very, very small one. Not really anything that we can do with that gap, Stefan. Typically, I like seeing the gaps at like 0.19, 0.2 even. These ones are the ones that you can play with a stronger bias. Right now, we're yet again diverged on SPY and Q. SPY has a gap up. Q's has a gap down, although they're very small. That means that the draw that we have into open is a 48-cent wick down on SPY with a 30-cent wick up on Q's. And then we don't really have anything that we can go with from there, unfortunately. What's going on, Walk? How you doing? R2, Patrick. Congratulations on winning that giveaway yesterday, Patrick. And Clarity. I was looking for gap fill and it just got rejected. Yeah, we have 17 minutes for that gap to fill. This is probably one of the more boring pre-markets that we've had. Yesterday, as long as we don't see the divergence on price that we got yesterday, I sincerely want SPY to have more than a 19-point range on the IB. That would be ideal. Glowex is the time frame for it. So you go to MNQ, you mark out the high formed right at 6 and the low formed from 6 to 7. In this case, this one formed at 6:30, 6:45. And then you wait for it to retrace up towards the 50%, same way we would for New York IB. And then you hold it until the level breaks. And that has Andre sent me a video, or not a video, a picture of how you get that data from last night. And that shows you that it's about a 75 to 78% win rate on the Glowex IV as well, or chance to have that little break. So we can go over to 6 from last day, 2 days ago. So the low formed right at 6, the high formed at 6:45. That's your range from 6 to 7. And then you got your retracement 50% at 7:15. You got your break at 7:30. And this was a 30-ish point break. Yeah, 30 on the dot. No drawdown on it. Do you take any trades from 7 a.m. to 9:30? Not really, no. Prefer not to. And then we'll do one more little back test here. This one doesn't look like it worked out all that well. Fibonacci. So high at 6, low formed right there. Your entry, it did not hit the low on the 6:45 candle, so your entry would have been about 24,982 in the best case scenario, and then you would have caught a 40-point drop to the downside. So $80 per micro. Something that you can also do during Glowex. The IB really just gives you the trend for what the session's going to do. It's really nice. And then I don't really think you should be trading outside of that. Same thing that I told you yesterday, Freedom Trader. If you are relying on your emotions for the trade to go in your favor, then you're going to lose on the trade. If you're relying on the data, then you put all your stress and cortisol and white hairs. What's going on, Oakley? How you doing? Yeah, sorry guys, not really much else to look at here. Where is the 0, 50%, 100% measure on TradingView? Go into the Fibonacci, which is the second tab down. So you have your trend line or your cross dot arrow, trend line. So sorry, third one. Go down to gone box and then go into the settings of the gone box and activate 0, 0.5, and 1. You can also do the same with the rectangle. They're both the same. I think the gone box looks a little bit cleaner because there's no sidewalls and it's also transparent. How many MNQ do you trade on 50K Rapids? Last night I traded 2. I was in a lot for 2, and that's because the IB was small. It's dependent on the range, L. So if the range is, like last night we had an 80-point range. Keep in mind I also drew it like this, so I thought the range was only 60 points. I entered with 2. The range for New York session, that one right on the cusp, but I still entered with 2 micros on MNQ yesterday. This one was about 110 point range from the 50%. Yeah, there should be plenty of videos, Jatra. I can't find the Ganba on Tradeovate. You go into the drawing tools. So 4th tab down, drawing tools, Fibonacci retracement. Double click on it and then highlight 50, 100, and 0 automatically comes on there. So you just have to have 50 and 100 checked off. The rest of them, just unclick. Gone, like how you say fan. Fan. Gan. Is it Gan box? I always said Gone box. Forgive me, I don't know how to. Trying to help me pronounce. Is it Gan? Shoot. I've been saying Gone for years. I'm still gonna say Gone. Forgive me. I like it better. Oh, that's embarrassing. Do you look at QQQ spy stats on the gap fill and trade on MNQ MES? Yes. Because of slippage. Yesterday was a picture perfect example of why I do not. And I guess I could have saved it a little bit had I put the stop loss on MES, not MES, sorry, on ES or SPY instead of MES. This slippage is what will screw you, as you guys saw yesterday. So that slippage that we had, that wick never happened. The lowest the candle got was 69.30 on ES, and this candle wicked down to 6929. So it was about a 2-point wick. It didn't happen on MES or SPY or ES. Not on stream, Jatra. Sadly not. Whew. Hopefully these meds last me for the stream and then go back to sleep. There are so many fake Mr. Zincs. If you guys get reached out to by a fake profile, do not sign up with a broker with them. I will not be asking you for money, I promise. Sad to see that people actually get scammed by that too. The tragic thing. All right, Nvidia had a terribly boring earnings. And we are still Nvidia, honestly, I thought we were going to break out of this September consolidation. Nvidia has been consolidating at the same level since July of last year. I was very hopeful that this was going to give us our push out of the chop zone, but it did not. We did end up getting the 692.30 price target that I wanted yesterday, which is good. So that should inch us a little bit closer to hopefully breaking 696. 696.54 is the level that we need to get over. Higher time frames. If we can get over that, then we should hopefully 700 is next, and then that gives us our continuation for the next 3 to 5 months. You deserve money. I've been making it with trading futures. I don't need you guys to open a private broker though. 8 minutes to go. Until I watched you, I did not get the IB trades. They're very easy to follow. Yeah, let me hopefully it lets me log in. Sometimes the platform has issues where it keeps refreshing. I requested my second payout with Apex last night. I have yet to get an email whether it's approved or denied. I requested it at about 5:50-ish. There we go. Failed to load data. Hopefully it loads. Congrats. Thank you. Thank you. The people I've been talking to, though, Steve, I don't know if he's in here. He's not. He requested his payout last Tuesday. And yesterday, he just at 6:00 yesterday, he got a email that said it was denied for account investigation. He didn't break any of the rules. He didn't break any of the MEA rules. He didn't break any of the sizing rules. They made him wait for 7 days, 8 days, and then denied his payout. So that's 8 days that he wasn't able to trade on the accounts and then ended up denying it. So I do still trade on Apex, just to clear that up. I will not be giving them any publicity or a recommendation as I was during that January to February push because it's Apex. They're very, yeah, for Steve. So he's been in lieu for 8 days, 8 calendar days, and 6 trading days where he wasn't able to trade, and he met all the requirements. He hit the $50 days. He hit the consistency requirement. He has everything met, and they still denied it. So they love those psychological tactics. Do I intend to keep them forever? No. In all honesty, I've been YOLOing them a little bit. I've been sized up to know, so I'll probably get denied. Usually it takes about 2 days for approval and 5 days for payment. The last one for me, had I not posted the denial on Twitter, I probably would have been denied outright. But I made a post on Twitter. I didn't break any of the rules. I didn't get an email for any of the rules being broken. Got denied the payout, made a post on Twitter, and within 30 minutes, I got reached out to from their support. And they said, well, look into it. They ended up approving it. And then it took 11 days for me to get the money. It's ridiculous. 0211 to 0213. That's how long it took for, or sorry, not 0213, 0223. So 211 to 223. 212, sorry. I'm all over the place. It was 11 days for me to get the money. Yeah, I don't think they would do the same for the average trader. Is it daily payouts, and what is the minimum buffer on those rapid accounts? That's what I'm trying to show you right now, but it will not refresh for whatever reason. There we go. So I have to make another $30, $34 today. And then I can, if I wanted to, I could request the entire 10,000 balance that I racked up. They are daily payouts. So if I get these accounts up to, even though they're daily payouts, notice that I've been trading them for 7 days as well. We've been trading these live since last week. Last Thursday, I think I passed them on Wednesday or Thursday, I don't recall. So to get your daily payouts, you just have to make essentially more than 500 over the buffer, which is 2,100 each day. The drawdown is trailing, just so you know. It's the same drawdown as Apex. So if you're up 100 on a trade, not entirely the same as I was last night, but this trade that I had on MNQ for that drop, this trade was technically up $90. That's why my drawdown shows that I'm another $15 away. But I brought these accounts to about 20,000, right? 5 times 4, yeah, 20,000. Getting some desirable red. It's still gapped up on ES, so we have 11 cents for a drawdown target, and then MNQ, we have a 95-cent push to the upside. So we're going to be targeting up to 616.85, 86 is what the upside draw should be, and then SPY is going to be pointing towards the downside. We should get wicks on both of them right into open, and then that will give us a little bit of a bias, not really much though. It took 10 days for the money to get into my bank from Apex 2. Yeah, it's way too long. Even though you can trade the accounts after the funds are taken out of them. If they keep you in lieu like that, that's a week, 2 weeks that you can't trade, and then they deny you, or it's just a pain waiting that long. Obviously, it's a lot of money, 30,000, 40,000, but every other firm in the space takes 1 to 3 business days. And most firms, like my funded futures, they'll send it. If I request this payout at 7 a.m. tomorrow, whenever I hit the target, if I request it at 7 a.m., 8 a.m., as long as it's before lunchtime, 12 o'clock noon, this payout will be in my bank account within the same day. And then you have Lucid that sends the payouts within, all my payouts on Lucid, I've gotten in my bank account within like 5 minutes of requesting it. The only one that I did not get that early was when was it? I think it was right around Christmas. I requested a payout just before Christmas. So they were out of the office. Our gap down was 0.18. So we have an 80% chance of filling that on Qs. If it can load for me. There we go. So we have, on Qs, we have a 94% chance of filling the gap to the upside, which is up to 616.86. This is what I was mentioning right before open. SPY and Qs unfortunately pointed in the opposite direction, but we still have a very high chance of filling that gap up. So I don't trust this wick right now. Even if it was in the second bracket as well, it's still a 70% chance that we get a gap fill. So it's very, very high on that regard. Thoughts on take profit trader? I haven't tried them yet. I have not dug into them. I haven't tried them. Maybe I'll go spend a couple $100,000 on trying to get a large payout from them. All right, we're back down to 692.30. That should be a support from yesterday. I would imagine it probably bounces up off of that. We have our previous day's range, 930 to there. So we do technically have the inside bar stat to fulfill. There's our close. And then same exact thing on Q. So we have a good chance of wicking all the way back up, which we're making a good push there now. And we'll draw in our London 50 as well. Our very, very tiny London 50. We have two stats lining up. We have the gap fill by size. It's a very significant chance that we get a fill of this gap to the upside, 70% or 94%. And then we also have previous day's high that should get taken out. We're bouncing off previous day's 50, which is good. Ultimately, just going to wait. But I am leaning to the upside right now. It's only 3 minutes in the open as well. I've heard good things. $90 25K eval with no activation. The only thing I don't like about the take profit trader accounts is that you have to trade for 5 days. So to pass the accounts, you have to do 5 days worth of trading. Maybe we're not going to get upside. This candle doesn't even have a wick on the top of it. There's a little teeny tiny thing. Out also gap down. A gap down into open 29 cents. Technically, we do. The reason I'm leaning up is because of our gap fill stat. Technically, we do have an equal draw to previous day's low and previous day's high. But I think that gap fill might carry us to the upside a little bit. Also dependent on what Nvidia is doing. Going to close out the NVDX cash secured puts. Nice little theta decay on those. IV crush as well. We were not going to get upside. All my homies like candles with wicks. I don't like the 3K buffer on the funded. You have to have a 3K buffer on the 25Ks. 3K is a lot to make on a 25K account. What's going on, NQ Luke? Centennials. How you doing, Centennials? Centennials 69. What a username. What's a candle without a wick? This candle, it does technically have one, but it's got a little tiny 3-cent wick on the top of it. Edgeful does not do promotions, unfortunately. Also, I spoke a little prematurely. Sorry about that. The giveaways will start next Wednesday and run every Wednesday after that. I should have mentioned that on stream yesterday. But 5 1-month giveaways each Wednesday. I really want to see it bounce off this level. 692 is a good support. 692.30. We got the gap filled down on SPY, so there's no draw to the upside. Q should be what takes it up, unless Nvidia keeps free falling. That's what's leading us down. Could be a decent long off of previous day's 50 right now as well. There's our London 50 right there. We have 3 sets of resistance to the upside, though. And now 692.30 is also getting added into the mix. Lousy trade out. What's going on, Mark? How you doing? The IB is the first hour range, 9:30 to 10:30. What is your approach to pass evals for IB 1-to-1 risk management side? The benefit with the IB is that you have a significant chance of going to the high or low. Most days it's like 75 to 80%. Tuesdays it's like 84 to 86. So I like to pass my evals on Tuesday or go a little heavier on Tuesday with those evals. I'll go in with, for this Tuesday's example, you can go in with, and we had the perfect entry on Tuesday as well, right off 50%. You can go in with 4MNQ or 4MES on an eval. Your stop loss is at the low, take profits at the high. That range with 4MNQ is like $800 to $900. And you can also add into it if it's winning. That's how I go about passing evals. I size up a little bit on Tuesdays. Are you feeling better? You have a better voice than yesterday. I am doped up on medicine right now. Also drinking some tea. But no, last night was rough. I don't know if I have. I know that influenza A is going around. I got whatever this is from my brother-in-law. There's our bounce off of previous day's 50s, wicking back up. Hopefully it sweeps here and continues. We really need Nvidia to turn around. Hopefully. What kind of tea? Lemon and honey. Lemon and honey tea. Oh, you just recovered from influenza? God, it was painful. I've had it once in my life, and that was like 3 years ago. I never, ever, I think it was influenza B. I never want to go through that again. That was terrible. The fever dreams and the delusional state. Oh my gosh, that was awful. Never again, please. If it's just a fever or a cold, I can handle it. But man, oh man, the flu is no joke. Okay, we're still getting a very nice wick off this level. Give me a jump all the way back up. We're holding 692.30 as well. Give me that jump back up to previous day's high. Holding previous day's 50. If we don't get a new high until 10:30 and keep grinding lower, would you consider the 50% short? Yes. Yes. Is the Dow still over 50,000? Let's see. What is YM sitting at? No, it is not. It's at 49,670 for the Dow. Well, this is a. Is anyone else, or is this day going super slow right now? I know we have a decent candle into open, but it was really just off that first minute, first 3 minutes. Let's pit it out. There's a big gap from yesterday's open. Should it not fill that? No, this doesn't need to fill because it traded overnight. These gaps are not significant. The gaps that are significant are your previous day in London gaps, where you get, it's usually Friday into the following Monday or the following Glowex open. These are the gaps that you need to fill. These ones are a loss of liquidity or a loss of orders that did not get filled. This gap from that from previous day's low to whatever your Glowex or previous day next day's high. Sorry. So that gap needs to fill. These ones are the ones that need to fill. Your overnight gaps, where it's 0.4%, 0.2%, 0.01, those gaps are not significant. The ones that are significant are where you have a gap between where price pushed during Glowex. So these orders did not get filled because the market was not open during this time. Whereas your orders that are your orders are filled overnight, MNQ trades all night long, ES trades all night long. So those ones do not need to get filled because they're filled throughout the night. So no, I would not say that the gap from yesterday's open needs to get filled. We're still bouncing off previous day's 50 right now. We got 2 minutes left in this open candle. And for market data this week, no problem, funny guy. For market data this week, we do not have any data today. We have a speaker at 10. That's it. What's going on, Rita? How you doing? Yeah, no problem, Din. So if this is our IB for today, for example, obviously we still have another 45 minutes on it, but if the IB high stays and then the IB low, we're going to be shorting it to the IB low. But we have 45 minutes for this to play out. I still think we're going to get a push up. At the very least, with how tight yesterday's range was, I think that we get 616.86 or down to 610.98, right where we opened. I don't even want to, I can hear the dogs ripping something up. I don't even want to know what it is. Can you explain the chances of filling the gap again? So our gap down today was between 0.19 and 0. So we have a 94% chance of filling that to the upside. That's another reason that I'm leaning for an upside push. Do we have any data on when the IB is more likely to retrace to 50% versus just go? Unfortunately not, no. How long have I been streaming? Pretty much the entire time I've been trading, so like 4 to 6 years. Do you stream on YouTube every day? No, I do not. Looks like we're still getting down. I gotta go see what they're chewing up. I'll be right back. Is the stream delayed? No. Just a second. Sorry about that. He was not chewing anything up. He was just scratching at the door. SPY is being a little weak again. So maybe we're overdue a gap fill loss on this. These are the individual stats right here. So when we have a gap of this size for both directions, 17 outcomes, 16 out of the 17 have filled both times. Is the IB due a loss today? I don't believe so. Maybe for the low forming first, but we don't have the low form first. Unless we go and push up to 615.59 and higher. As it stands right now, we're going to be targeting a push lower for the IB. So chance of filling gap upside today is low, right? Now it's high. I guess it might be overdue a loss. I'm not putting too much emphasis on this because this could also fill at 3 o'clock this afternoon. The IB by rejection is more important than that. The gap fill by size just gives us a bias going into open for most days, but considering that SPY and Qs were yet again diverged on their gap, that kind of screwed up the data there a little bit. So now we're just relying on the IB. We don't have London 50. Previous day's 50 just failed, so we're below that. So I guess it is more likely that we go to 611, 610.98 to be exact. That is yesterday's low. Actually, 611.01 is yesterday's low on QQQ. Price is really taking its sweet time though. Look at the 1 minute time frame for an open, no less. So we're making like 30-cent ranges on the 1 minute, which usually are into New York open like this. They're at least like 50 cents to 80 cents, especially with the VIX. Well, I guess the VIX down to 18 now, so it's not as volatile as it was last week. But maybe it's just me. This feels like it is crawling along right now. This is so slow. Do something. Honestly, this is beneficial to us because if it does want to pop, I might take a short down to previous day's low. We can definitely, and we haven't done this for a very long time. During New York, we could definitely right now go in with 2 micros on MNQ because of how small the range is. That's our range right there so far. So the high is 25,340. The low is 209. So we have a 70-point range from 50% of the IB, 140-point total. I don't believe those ones, PIP-T, the edgeful stats that show 100% outcome. Typically, that means something skewed for the data, which is I haven't seen very many gaps of this size 0.19 to 0. I haven't seen many gaps of that size not get filled, which is why it's odd that we haven't filled that yet. We also had a gap down of like 30 cents into that opening candle. But we have 40 minutes left for the IB. And price is taking its sweet old time moving right now. Still getting 30-cent candles on the 1 minute. And the worst part is these candles are all countering each other. 30 cents up, 30 cents down. Two 30-cent candles down, two 30-cent candles right back up. Do something. We are heavily relying on Nvidia right now. Man. London low, London high. Oh, that's a nice trade on the IB50. IB works for London today. It did. Looks like it did. So you have your London opens at 3:30. 3:30. Let's see. Where's our 3 a.m. candle? So there's our high into the low. Let's see if the low held. Is it 3:30 instead? That would make more sense. Low form first, high form second. And then the high broke right away. I wouldn't really call that a viable one for today. We are making marginal new lows. What is going on with price this week? This stinks. I mean, the range is at least bigger than yesterday, but it's so slow. Previous day's low is what we're going to go and take out. Definitely. So if we can get an entry up to 50%, then we can take that low. 3 a.m. 3 to 4, thank you. Worked on ABS. Gotcha. Doesn't the new day opening gap above on M&Q 25,418 make you think it's going up shortly? I think it's going up because of the gap fill, which we never ended up filling. So this is going to drop back down to like 82% now. Because this data point will stay at 18 and this will read 16 instead of 17. So whatever 16 divided by 18. So 88, it's going to drop by 6%. Can you show stats for YM? I don't use YM at all, but here you go. There's your chances for the IB high and IB low for a Thursday. This would tell me it's probably overdue a loss for the low forming first, and then the high would be fine. But again, I don't trade YM. It's not something that I would look into. YM always has divergence or SMT or whatever you want to call it with SPY and Qs. We are moving this is so boring. It's only been 23 minutes into open. Yesterday, it felt like we were flying by. And we got our IB entry, and then all was well. Is that gap fill stat for the same day, Phil, or into the future? It's for the same day. So tomorrow that doesn't mean anything. It's just for today. I wouldn't mind it hanging around right here. 611.83 is our current low. I don't really want to take shorts this early, but I do think they look good to go to previous day's low, which I mean it's a $1.40 drop down. Ideally, we get a retracement back up to IB 50, which also lines up with previous day's 50. But man, this is crawling. It's such a small range. I can't believe we're still within yesterday's range with how small that was. Yeah, I'll keep talking about gap fills. Your name's Phil. Trader Phil, that's funny. Why do I trade QQQ and not MNQ? I do trade on MNQ, but perfect example from yesterday. If anyone was in the stream for yesterday, everyone should have seen this. We took the low on MES yesterday. We did not take the low on SPY. So SPY, more accurate on the data. QQQ, also more accurate on the data. Looking for a retrace to 50%, take a short for today. If we keep the IB low, yes, that's exactly what I'm looking for. I mean, maybe we have Was it Bostic that's testifying at 10? If Bowman testifies to Congress at 10, maybe that will give us some volatility. Nvidia is not really helping. Let's go and look at that Tesla 5-minute inversion, see how that worked today. Looks like it would have been a loss. You would have lost. Longer term, it still played out, but your stop loss would have been 410.99. Your entry would have been 411.61. So you would have lost maybe 15%, even if they expire tomorrow. Not too shabby. Beat me to it. All right, beat you to it, Chad. It was a small loss today. It looks like, which kind of stinks because it did end up inversing. But this, even on Tesla, this is a tiny, tiny move. Tesla usually moves like $12 in the open. It's moved $6. It's about half the opening range that it usually makes. Like yesterday was you can see it went from 411 all the way up to 421. $10 yesterday. $10 on Tuesday. $10 on Monday. $7 on Friday. Everything's kind of spent right now. I don't know why. What's going on, Schloke? How you doing? We will be targeting the IB low today? Yes. As it stands right now, we will. Oh, it's starting to move a little bit at least. I made a new IB low. It looks like it's probably just going to chop its way all the way down to previous day's low, which kind of stinks. 1 minute time frame. Let's go to that. Yeah, it's just going to chop its way down. Not even big candles. I think if we got a little bit more of a pullback right there, I would have gone short. Maybe. Previous day's low is what our more significant draw is going to be. That's going to be the inside bar stat, which we have a 83% chance of going and hitting. And it's not overdue a loss because we lost this week. This past Monday. Stayed within yesterday's range for the whole day. I was thinking about yesterday's live session after seeing the market rally. Couldn't help but think of how unlucky that stop was. It was great that you hopped off stream immediately. Yeah, I needed to get off the charts. I probably would have done something stupid on MES. Do you trade at 38.2? No, 50%. 50% retracement. Anyone happen to get a play off of maybe London low or shorts off anything? If you guys were able to get into anything else. What's going on, Freedom Trader? How are you doing? Your mic just ended up cutting out. I don't know if you're trying to say something after that. Type a 1 in chat if you guys are starting to understand the IB a lot better. Or if you're starting to understand what good price versus bad price is. I think the IB is incredibly simple and something that everyone should be able to use. Good. Look at all those ones. Wonderful. What's going on, Nate the student? Happy to see you. We are just melting, so we can't even do anything with this unless we had shorts all the way up here. So we want to get, ideally, we want to get a limit sell right here, 25 to 59. In an ideal world, we get a pull back up to that level and then we go short with it. And I might. Wow, I cannot believe we ended up just trending all the way to previous day's low. We were 30 cents off of the high, and we just hit previous day's low right there. So that inside bar stats fulfilled on both SPY and Qs. Crazy. No longer have that draw. If we had managed to get a little bit more of a pullback, I might have shorted that. Obviously, it's all in hindsight. And Nvidia is not helping the cause either. Definitely simple. Takes the guesswork out. One, but don't stop streaming. I won't. I promise. IB on the open last night. It did. It was very similar, but we still got our pullback. We got our pullback at 7 o'clock, and honestly, all the way up till 7:30. I've noticed that price doesn't always pull back to the 50, and sometimes the range is created by 10-15-ish. Yeah, there's some intuition that goes along with the IB. So it's not as mechanical as a trading strategy as it may sound, because there is some instances where you can go and see what do we have for an example, like Monday this week. We entered the short on Monday at about 10:15, I think. The reason that I took that short on Monday at 10:15 was because SPY was just in free fall. It was incredibly weak. SPY was very apparent that it wasn't going to hit that 687, which was the 50%. So levels like that and little intuition plugins that you need to also add onto the IB. You can just wait for it to hit 50% because it does work. Like Friday last week, it worked perfectly. You can wait for it to hit 50%, but I think it's a little bit better if you add some of your own intuition into the model and say, yeah, prices today is a great example as well. Price is extremely weak right now. Very, very weak. We're probably not going to get a significant pullback up. And if we do, it might be, for instance, on M&Q, it might pull back up to 613 right now, and then we can take it to the short, even if it hits at like 1015, 1020. As long as you're not getting in this trade at like 945 or 950, I think you're fine. $611.81. See if you can fast forward on the stream, Rio. Do you have any concerns about the IB setup edge going away if too many people know? The IB, I'll look it up right now. I think his name was Dr. Stefan Kuraszowski or something like that. Mike Wazowski. The IB has been around since 1982, and it's maintained like a 72% win rate since then. How long has the IB? Initial balance breakout strategy been around. Should say 1980s by Dr. Where is his name? Initial balance breakout strategy defined as the high and low of the first 30 to 60 minutes of trading has been used since the mid to late 1980s. The concept was formed by J. Peter Steidlmayer, the creator of the market profile and popularized by the 1990 book Mind Over Market. So it's been, yeah, there you go, Moon. It's been, I have no worry about, and I'm sure a lot of you have noticed that it's trending a lot more since we've started using it, and whether that's because of me or just because of edgeful or whatever it might be, it's trending a lot more. But I have no worry about it stopping the high win rate or the success of the trade, because it's a lot more sound of a strategy than using the 15-minute orb, which quite literally every single trader has used. The 15-minute orb still works, but everyone and their mother uses it or has used it at one point. So you're telling me Andre didn't create the IB? No. Uh, most of most of the reports on here he did name. So if you go to any of these reports, like the opening candle continuation, uh, power hour breakout, power hour continuation, a lot of these reports Andre did create, but on the same note, a lot of them he just added onto the platform. Do you have a code for Lucid? I do. I have a code for Lucid, Tradeify, and My Fund of Futures, and they're all Zinc, ZINC. All right, give us a pullback. It's looking almost identical to what it did last night with the just straight bleed. Hopefully, this candle does put in a wick. We just want it to get up to 25,238. And then it's about 100 points, so $200 on one micro. We could go in with two and have it be maybe a $400 trade, but on the same note, it would also be a $400 risk. I do think MES looks a little bit better, but she was kind of a bitch yesterday, not gonna lie. MES was a little bit of a bitch. So I'm not sure if I want to take it on this. 20 points. We could take two MES. It's the same as taking one MNQ. We got to see in the next 20-ish minutes. We need to see which one of these is closer to the 50%, and then we can take it. Can you trade the IB correct without edgefill? I think edgefill is a very important. God, that was a bad one. I think it's a very important data point to have because it also helps you with the week to week and the day to day timeframes. So we know if the IB low formed first today, it was probably a little less likely to go and break the high because it's on a win streak. Naked POC just above 25,000 could be a good target with the extension. He 135 points is quite a way. We're already down 1% right now. So dropping another 135, another 0.5%, 0.6% would be quite a bit. I just trade the IB. I don't really care to trade the extensions. If this hits the 50% in the next 7 minutes, I'll take it. My Twitter was just blowing up. I was trying to figure out what it was. It's because of that post I made last night about not caring about all the drama in the space right now. Oh my goodness. Are you saying the price gets back to 238 and shoot back down like it did yesterday? That's what I'm going to be looking for. Yeah. A guy named the Master, whatever that is, came out with the DR system a while back, and he was outdated for rebranding. He is outed for rebranding the IB. Yeah, there's no. It's the same thing that ICT did, which is unfortunate. ICT, all those concepts are things from like the 1960s to 1980s. If you think that rebranding, there's no reason to go and rebrand what you're doing in terms of the IB, or say I trade the IB and I've been trading the IB for 2 years. All of a sudden now I'm going to call it the Zinc model or the Zinc range. There's no reason to do that. And that's a big issue that the space has right now is people taking concepts that have worked for decades and hoping that people forget them and then rebranding it to their own thing. It's ridiculous. There's absolutely no reason to go and rebrand the IB. It's already been founded by whatever his name was, Peter Steinelberg. Unless you actually create your own trading strategy, like the London 50, I don't think I've seen anyone else use that. It's still not like I put my name behind it and called it the Zinc London 50 or the Zinc previous days 50. What highs / lows do you want to be taken to validate the trade? I'm going to be looking for. We could put a limit order in right here as well. I want it to get to 6942, ideally. You know what? I actually will right now. It might be a little early, but I'm going to put 2 MES sell limits. Buy 10 stop. So sell 2 MES limit at 6942. And then we'll leave that on there. If it doesn't end up going and hitting, then we'll maybe make some adjustments. Hopefully we get a pullback. If we don't get a pullback, then it is what it is. It will be done for the day. At 6942 for IB50 will adjust as the IB moves. I know this is an early, obviously we're not in it because it's a limit short, but this is an early place of the limit short. Just went and made a new low. Come on. Stop free falling. It's actually kind of pissing me off here. I want to get an entry at the 50%. That's all. Please. Even hindsight right now, we have yet to have. This is a very steep drop. It's a very steep trend down right now. So even in hindsight, we have yet to have a significant pullback for an entry, and it is all because of Nvidia. But it's the 1 minute time frame is just bleeding. You take a look at gold. Try that candle with a long wick. That's just an FU stop out candle. That's it. Did that happen on MGC too, or just on? Oh, it did. What the heck? So that was a 40-point wick into open. Yeah, it's just the FU. It'll hit that naked POC within the IB. It's looking that way now. I did not expect it to continue to free fall like this, but of course now hindsight, that wick that we just had, we wouldn't have entered there, but 25,212, that would have been our IB 50 entry. Now that's made a new low. Please just pull back. We're gonna go ahead and take that limit order off, by the way. Let's make it new lows. Thought it was gonna be a little tricky there. Market is bleeding. I know. Needs to stop. Freaking Nvidia, man. It's all because of this. Jensen has stated that their AI has reached a key milestone, boosting business intelligence and cash flow. He highlighted strong demand for computing resources tied to AI growth. And we're free falling because of it. Stop. Oh my lord. It's not even that we could have gotten an end. I mean, look at how ridiculous this 15-minute is. 5 minutes had one green candle the entire day. Please forgive me, Brian. It is going to your 25,000 level. I did not expect that. We're down 1.4% now. What the heck? When do you invalidate trading today? As in, what time do you stop trading if the pullback did not happen? As soon as the IB is broken, I'm done trading. There's no reason to trade after that. Again, what I was saying right at open, I put the stress that comes with trading. If you're trading based on your emotions and hoping, obviously we're not trading this right now, but I'm hoping that price is going to go back up to 611 so I can short. I'm not taking a trade up to 611. I'm not trying to catch this knife right now. On the same note, with the IB, this is where all my stress goes. So I have no stress with the position because I trust the statistics that come with the IB, knowing that it should go and hit this level or it should go and hit that level. So I have no reason to worry about price moving against me. I have no reason to worry about price moving up sharply, down sharply. I just have to wait for the IB to form. I know that if the IB high forms first on X day, my entry is going to be prior to 10:30 on the IB. As long as it's still intact, my entry is going to be 25,165. Also, there's your level hit, Brian. Very good call. Prepping myself for no trade today. We're not, I mean, we still have 13 minutes. There's still a chance we get a little pullback, and I might enter. We could enter down here at like 25.72. With how fast it's moving, it should get a little whiplash effect as well. So we might get up to 611, even though it's a $3 pushback up. Hindsight, obviously. There you go, Abe. You want to buy 525Ks? Very nice. Hindsight, obviously, it would have been best for us to have taken shorts right at open. But, and you guys can comment this in chat. Drop a 1 if you would have gotten an entry on this. If you can validate where you would have gotten an entry, drop a 2 if you agree that this is probably, I mean, this is just in free fall. Unless you chase the move down, there's no entry on this. Maybe at previous day's 50. Maybe at London low, you could have gotten an entry. Maybe at previous day's 50, but this is, and the worst part right now is that it's accelerating in downside too. So we just went from a $2 opening candle to a $1.70 to follow that on the 1 minute time frame, especially. Melted, 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 melted. Then all of a sudden it forms a $1.50 1 minute candle, 60 cent, 70 cent dollar candle, dollar candle, dollar candle, all the way down. There you go, Phil. Very nice. Yeah, I guess I'm coping a little bit. I wouldn't have gotten an entry on this. Obviously, we did not catch an entry. VIX is on steroids after the daily sweep, hence not any great pullbacks. What's the VIX up to now? 1870. This is just so unfortunate. I was hoping that we were going to get a good trade today. The sad thing is I needed to make $30, and I would have made it had I held my M&Q short last night. That's it. I need to make $30 to get a 10K payout. And what I really want to emphasize is I am not going to chase the $30, especially being a little sick right now as well. But chasing that $30 will almost always turn into you either being down 200, 300, or blowing the accounts. If you just chase, you're essentially gambling on the fact that you're gonna, hey, it's $30 I have to make. That's really easy. That $30 turns into now you need to make 60. Now you need to make 100. Now you need to make 120. Now you need to make 60. Now you need to make 200, 300, 400. And next thing you know, you were $200 away from passing your account, and the account is now gone. Or in this case, $30 away from getting a payout. It's genuinely impressive and inspiring to see how well you've done with the strategy. I love the simplicity of it. Thank you. How much more of a move before we trigger a halt in trading? Yeah, no kidding. This is about as waterfall looking as it gets. And it's all because of Nvidia. We technically did get our wish though, everyone. Do you think it's bearish? It's a pretty good guess, yeah. It's pretty good reasoning behind that. I too think this is bearish. Let's see if Lucid's dashboard's back up. Because I still have no access to my codes. It's a little annoying. Processing login. Looks like a lot of people are blowing their accounts today. Our website is now completely down again. Awesome. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Am I a full-time trader? I am, yes. Yes, I am. Oh my God. This is we had a 0.19% gap down today. Can I take one for the team and short it so I can get a pullback? Yeah, absolutely. Wouldn't be surprised for more short days coming up over the next months. Please stick to the This is from in the last hour, not even the last hour, for the last 50 minutes. This is a $10 drop on Qs with zero cents of pullbacks. So Lucid must be, I bet a lot of people probably blew their accounts today trying to long this. So many people probably blown their accounts today trying to long this. Called BS. Please, sir. Can we get a pullback, sir? 1 MNQ right now, by the way, is a 440 point range. So if we do get an entry at 25,119, that's going to be a 440 point trade, a $440 trade. This is a little frustrating, a little bit frustrating. Same ish range on MES too. We had our limit order set at 6942. 50% is now 6919. Shorting through an untouched 4-hour gap would have been crazy gambling. Ivy's goated. What's going on, Martinez? This is a little bit ridiculous. I really wish I had held my trade from last night now, because then I wouldn't have been this close to getting a pretty big payout. It will be a little difficult for me to walk away today and not try to short into this drop, especially after the IB breaks, but I'm going to try my hardest. I'm honestly probably going to go and pass out after the stream and just go and sleep. We have 5 minutes for something to happen. 5 minutes for something fun to happen. There's a chance we're getting a pullback right now. It's a 10-point pop. Give us some more. Please. We need just a little bit more. By a little bit, I mean a lot of it. We need a lot more. Oh, man. And it sunk all the way right back down. 25% pullback's possible, not 50%. Is there a way I can copy trade accounts on mobile, like if I set it up on my PC and just unfortunately not, no. You cannot. IB is gambling, come on. No logic is the same as the random lines. That might be. Probably not. You gonna do the news method tomorrow at 8:30? No, that's just for CPI. Unfortunately, on the my 500 accounts, you can't do that. Tomorrow we have PPI, right? Looks like that pullback that we just got was about it. That was a obviously in hindsight, but that was still way too early to have entered. Still would have caught 90 points down, obviously, if I had rubbed my crystal ball before I entered that trade. Okay. Yeah, I don't do it with PPI. I do it with CPI though. CPI should be next week then, right? No. Oh my gosh, we're already in March. Next week is NFP too, so probably not going to be. Where the heck is CPI? Huh. 19 seconds. Still don't want to chase this. I've had several instances where it looks like I get in shorts, targeting the low, and then ends up having a 50-point candle back up. So we have to at least have some patience in trying to get a pullback. Maybe like 687 will enter there. CPI is 311. Thank you, Tyree. Does the IB50 deliver to the IB edge, even if the range is so big? Not always, no. Most of the time when the range is this big, like it is today, like we're probably just going to flush right through the IB low right now with no entry. That would have been maybe like 50 points right there if you got an ideal entry. It's going to go break right now. This is the day that you just go and tip your hat to it. Nothing that we could have done, I don't think. I don't see any short entries. Obviously, all in hindsight, we could have shorted at previous day's 50. We could have shorted at previous day's low. We could have shorted at open to previous day's low, even though we opened 30 cents underneath previous day's high. Really, all in all, just not a lot of confluence to the downside for me today. Also opened with a mixed gap, so there's that as well. Do I ever trade PM session? Almost never. Almost never. Yesterday I did trade PM session, and the only reason being was because I entered the damn trade at 11 o'clock, and it took 2 hours for it to go and play out. No, there's no way this is. Did you ever work in corporate? No, I did not. There's no way this is pulling back all the way up to green. I hate to tell you. Do you risk 1% per trade? I usually just do 1-to-1 risk rewards. I think now wouldn't be a bad time to short and then just have like a 1-to-1 stop on it. So your stop would be at this is a 50-point move down, 40-point move down. So you can have your stop at 25, 24,960 maybe. But this is just chasing the downside at that point. I don't think it's a very good idea. It would have just worked though. 24,920, 24,923. So if it doesn't break the IB and came back up, would you enter? I would, yeah, if it came all the way back up to 50. But I highly doubt it's going to. This is probably just going to be a no trade day, which those are the most difficult days that you can go about as a trader, is not taking one. Yeah, you could definitely take it. I mean, it's more likely than not going to go and break the low right now, though. So it's probably. I mean, it's yeah. It's at 604.56. That would have been a good short opportunity right there. 1-to-1. And then, especially after this IB's broken, and this is why I'm done trading after the IB breaks. With the IB as large as it is with a breakdown day, these are our odds of continuing past the IB. So usually I just look at the half standard deviations. And this IB range today should be like 2.5%. What am I saying? 1.8%. So let's refine this up to like 1.5 for the range. And we'll just look at those data points and we'll make all these. I really only care about the 0.5 and 1. But I'll make all these the same anyway. There's the IB broken, by the way. So that would have been a nice. We could have caught 40 points at most. So we're definitely done. It pulled back up to, after the IB was formed, it just pulled back up to 24,923. Looks like the actual peak of it was 24,935. With the IB broken now, we'll go over to the IB by levels. Let me pull up the 3 o'clock one. And this is why you should not be trading after the IB is broken. I'll refine this down to 4. There we go. So this is every day that has had a range this large. We've only had one outcome. And one of those, out of the 5 total outcomes over the past 6 months, only one of those has continued to 0.5. So right now, I would say this price, and this isn't me saying that we're going to have an upside move, but I would say this is probably going to do exactly what it did on Monday this week, where you get the IB low taken, you have the previous day's low taken as well. This drop on Monday was also 1.4%, 1.2, 1.4. And then now the IB's done. We had a $2 bounce off of previous day's low. So I would not doubt seeing a pretty big bounce right now and then right back up. Now that the IB is also taken, we have no draw to the downside. No chasing trades. Yes. Gold just fell off a cliff as well. It did. IB high for him first on gold, IB low for him second. Technically should be targeting the low in that. But yeah, I would expect probably a pretty nasty, now that the IB's taken, probably a pretty nasty bounce back up and then right back down. No trade today. Yes, hardest thing to do about trading. What drawing tool gave you the 50%? The Fibonacci on Trade of 8. How about previous week's low? No. It's going to be very difficult. Keep in mind that we just peaked at -2% on the day. Not really much of a reason to go and take a trade after what we just saw price do. At best, we could have just caught a 40-point drop, so $80 on 1M&Q. That's our best outcome today. And this is, again, the hardest thing you can do in trading is not take a trade for the day. I promise you, one trading day is not going to make you rich. It's not going to break the bank. It's not going to make you rich. The worst thing you can do today is continue to trade, have no draw to the upside, no draw to the downside. You're just guessing on which way price goes. And next thing you know, you're 10 evals deep on, or 10 resets deep on Lucid, which looks like what most of their, if you go through their Discord right now, it's a lot of people are upset about the dashboard being down. Gold's about to say F you and go take the IB high too. It's kind of funny. Yeah, this is exactly what we did on Monday so far. Monday, as soon as we had all of our draws hit, we got a V shape back up on the very next candle, and then it just pittered out for the day, which is exactly what we're probably going to do today. So the hardest thing to do is just close that tab out. No trades, nothing. Would I play a retracement? No. No. Do you make sure to always trade after the IB is created? You never trade before? I do trade before it was created sometimes, but again, today we had no entry model. There was no reason for us to go short. The entire time we were hoping for a pullback, and that pullback never happened. Even going down to the 5-minute time frame, this was pretty much an hour straight where we were just chopping to the downside, and then all of a sudden come 10-10, 10-15, it free fell. So all right, guys, I am going to call the stream a little bit early today. Forgive me, Sabine and Andre, but the meds are wearing off. My eyes are sore, which is not good. So I am going to call it there for the day. Up 76 on the day, and that is from the IB from last night. Glowex IB. But that is it, guys. No trading for me today. No reasons to get in trades. I will see you all next Tuesday, tomorrow for the Discord, next Tuesday for edgeful. But have a great rest of your day, guys.